Assalamu alaikum and welcome to yet another program of Chazaq's Torah Talks, our Tuesday night program with special guests. Tonight we have with us a very dear friend of ours, Rabbi Ashie Schreier. Rabbi, welcome. How you doing?
I am great. It's such an honor to be here with Rabbi Yaniv. What an honor. Really keep up the amazing things. It's just a privilege to be here with you tonight.
Well, the privilege is all ours. Rabbi Ashie Schreier is a mover and a shaker from our Queens community. Baruch Hashem, we got to know each other since he came into the community. The rabbi, the youngest of Forest Hills. And tonight the rabbis and we were going to be discussing, don't let your struggles define you. Should be a very interesting topic tonight. But before we delve into tonight's exciting topic, Rabbi Schreier, why don't you tell our audience just a little bit about yourself and the great work you're involved with?
Sure. Again, really just a privilege to be here. Just such an amazing opportunity to be here with the Chazaq crew and just seeing all that you guys do. It should be continued success for all of you and really for all of us, since we're all here working towards the same goal. So I'm currently the rabbi in the Young Israel Forest Hills, where we have a wonderful, diverse crew within our shul, and just a beautiful mix of just all different types of people. And we try to connect to everybody, and that's really the goal. And I think that's what Chazaq tries to do as well. And we try to be as warm and welcoming as we can, give over real Torah, inspiring Torah, to show that we have to live our lives by looking through the prism of Torah. We talk all the time about current events and halacha and Jewish thought and things along those lines, because our goal is to put on those glasses as we look through what's happening in the world, which is just crazy. We continue to look through things through the prism of halacha and through the prism of Torah, because the Torah is not some outdated book that we just mention and talk about for whatever reason. Torah is something that we're supposed to be interacting with every single second of every single day. So our goal is to go and bring the Torah into our lives. So I work in the Young Israel Forest Hills trying to bring that into reality, and it's not always so easy. And I got to give myself chizuk a lot. I got to try to give a lot of chizuk, but mostly to myself, and then hopefully we're able to build from there. I also work in home care, home health care. I work in caring professionals. Caring professionals. I know Chazaq is caring professionals are friends. So I've been there for about 6 years now also. And it's a big opportunity. I get to help people on that front and in the rabbi front. So it's Baruch Hashem. It's been quite an experience here in Queens. I still remember our first interaction. It was some big event, and you're like, "Oh, just go speak for a minute." You didn't go introduce for a minute. I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." You're like, "Nachshon ben Aminadav." You gotta jump in. Trying to jump in.
I remember very well. It was actually Charlie Harari in your shul, and I told you got to do some opening remarks, and you were really shy. I'm like, Rabbi, you got to jump in, and Baruch Hashem, we've seen the Rabbi jump in. I could attest to the great work that the Rabbi does. Young as a Forest Hills, he has the main shul meeting, he has a young marrieds meeting, and the best meeting. Okay, I'm a little bit biased, but my family has a meeting, the Sephardic meeting running downstairs in the ballroom. True Achdus. Everyone's together, everyone's happy, and the Rabbi does a great job putting it all together, and the chizuk inspiration is always great. So we're really excited for you to be on the program, Rabbi.
It's an honor. Yeah, I love it. Can't wait. Let's delve in.
Yeah, let's do it. So tonight's topic, as we said, is don't let your struggles define you. We know that a righteous person falls down 7 times and gets up. Sheva Pamin the April Tzaddik V'Kam. Now, we just passed the secular New Year, where a majority of the country tries to take upon themselves commitments to become better, to lose weight, to be a better spouse and all that good stuff, right? But Rabbi, how do we not let our previous mistakes hold us down? Many people, unfortunately, they fall. And what do you suggest?
I think it's such a great question, and there's so many layers to the question. I think when it comes to New Year's resolutions, a whole separate topic, maybe for another Tuesday Torah talk we can have about taking small things, realistic goals, actual tangible goals, not just saying I'm going to eat better or be better, because what does that even mean? And then when people take those types of goals, everyone ends up doing nothing because you didn't actually say anything. So we can talk about that another time. But I guess more specifically towards the struggles, not letting our past struggles stop us. We hear so much about consistency. One of the great divrei Torah, probably the ultimate pinnacle of a story, of a dramatic story when it comes to the entire Torah, is Yosef's revelation to his brothers. Ani Yosef ha'od avichai. It's me, Yosef, after all these years and all these parshios of this whole story of sending back Binyamin and back and forth, and this whole story, Yosef reveals himself when he says, Ani Yosef ha'od avichai. In the Beis HaLevi, there's a classic Beis HaLevi where he asks, I don't understand what Yosef is saying. Was Yosef not listening to the entire story that Yehuda just poured his heart out, telling us his dad is not going to survive and his dad can't handle this? Now he's saying, I'm Yosef, his dad's still alive. Was he not just listening to the whole story? Doesn't make any sense. So the Beis Halevi explains, no, Yosef was really giving them the greatest mussar possible. And this explains all the Midrashim say, all of the Chazal, all of the rabbis talk about how when Yosef revealed himself to the brothers, he was really giving them the greatest mussar, the greatest rebuke that anyone can ever give. Because what Yosef was saying is, I am Yosef, it's me. This whole time, I'm the viceroy in Egypt. I'm the viceroy in Mitzrayim. Is dad still alive? What was Yosef really saying? Says the Beis Halevi, what Yosef was really saying was, you're giving me this whole impassioned plea, this whole speech about how dad's not going to be able to lose another one of his children in Binyamin. It's not going to work. How's he going to survive? Now, all of a sudden, you care about dad? You care about dad's feelings? 22 years ago when you sold me, you didn't care too much. That's a bit strange. And the message the Beis Halevi is trying to bring out is such an important one. You know, so often we say, I don't have the time to learn this or to do this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not wealthy enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. So God's going to come back after 120. Really, you're not smart enough to learn a little bit. Aren't you the guy who started that business? Aren't you the guy who worked that job? Aren't you the guy who got that degree or that degree? And you're not smart enough to go and try. I think you are. I think you are. And the message that this brings out is the consistency, that the ultimate rebuke that we can get is a contradiction within our own lives. When we say we don't have enough time to go and hang out with our families and our kids, yet we haven't missed a football game on a Sunday in 10 years, which New York football, really, if you're watching New York football, you got no excuse. But otherwise, anyway, but this idea of consistency, how it's so important to make sure that we're consistent, I think this idea is very dangerous. It's important, and we do have to keep it in the forefronts of our minds. And our goal, an ideal, is to be tochel kiboro, to be as consistent as possible. But I think it's an ideal. I think it's something that we strive for, but we can never let the fact that we're not there yet stop us from doing other things. So often, one of the greatest traps we fall into, and I think this is really touching on your question, is that we have past failures stop us from accomplishing great things. It's a new year. I want to start going to Minyan. Really, me go to Minyan, but I'm the same person who last night was doing X, Y, and Z. I can't be the one who goes to Minyan. That's ridiculous. But this is such a trap of the Yetzer Hara. This is what the Yetzer Hara is trying to get us on. And the truth is that this is actually a conversation and a debate that goes back to Yaakov and Yosef. You know, that kid who's being favored in class. Right? There's a kid who's the teacher's pet, or even if he's not trying to, or she's not trying to be, but you have that kid who's being favored in class. And oftentimes the biggest victim when someone's being favored by a teacher in class is that kid itself, because the rest of the kids are so mad at that kid. And it's a very difficult thing. So Yaakov favors Yosef, right? He gives the he gives the coat to Yosef. He gives all of the favor to Yosef, and the brothers are really jealous. And this causes the entire story, the 22 years, Yosef being sold down to Egypt, and all of the troubles that come after that is all because Yaakov showed inappropriate favor. He favored one child over the other. He favored Yosef over everyone else. Now, fast forward a lot of years, and Yaakov's on his deathbed. And now Yosef is bringing his children, Menashe and Ephraim. He's bringing his two children to him to get a bracha from Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov seems to make the same mistake again. Yosef brings Menashe on the right, Ephraim on the left, because the right is the oldest, the more chashuv, and Yaakov switches the hands. And you can imagine what Yosef's feeling was, because the Torah even tells us, Yosef jumps up and he says, Dad, what are you doing? We just went through this. Don't you know what just happened the last 30 plus years? This was all because you showed this inappropriate favoring. This is the same exact thing. What are you doing? And Yaakov says, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. What's this machlokas about? What are they arguing about? So some want to explain that Menashe and Ephraim represent two different types of children. Look at their names. When we see someone's name, we can understand their essence. Menashe is named Menashe. The pasuk says, because I want to forget. Ki nashani Elokim es kol amali v'es kol beis avi. I want to forget everything that happened with my father's house. I want to forget all the bad things that happened to me in my life. It's a focus on negativity. And Ephraim is named after all of the amazing things that happened to him in Mitzrayim. It's based on positivity. So Yosef comes and Yosef says, listen, there are two ways to attain greatness. There are two ways to become great. One is sur merah, staying away from bad. And the other one is aseh tov, do good. So Yosef comes to Yaakov and he says, the first thing we have to do is stay away from bad. In order to get to greatness, get rid of all of the bad things in your life, get rid of all of the temptations, all of the challenges, and then aseh tov. Then you'll start to do good. So Menashe, then Ephraim, comes Yaakov and he says, no. I grew up with an Esav. I grew up with a Lavan. I grew up with wicked people. You know what wicked people do? Wicked people wait for that perfect moment to start acting good. They wait for the perfect sur merah, when everything is gone, when time is perfect, when I've perfected getting rid of all of the challenges in my life. then I'll start doing good things. But guess what? That time doesn't come because challenges exist. We have to become great and attain greatness through asay tov, through doing great things. We can't let our past struggles stop us. We have to, okay, it happened, we move forward. We can't dwell on the past. It's just going to cripple our future. This is exactly what the Torah wants us to be doing. So it's a tremendous trap and a tremendous opportunity if we can recognize it for what it is.
Amazing, Rabbi Schreier. Wow, love it.
I get too excited.
So, Rabbi Schreier, we're taught, and we all know that tzara agra, no pain, no gain. According to the efforts is the reward, right? Can you please, Rabbi, delve into the importance of effort in terms of our spiritual growth?
Of course, yeah. I want to just preface all of these things, and especially the first one, by saying these are things I struggle with too. I know you've had some incredible guests on this slot and interacted with incredible rabbanim. I struggle with a lot of these things too, and it gives me chizuk to talk about them, which is why I get so excited. So these are just suggestions that have talked to me, and in no way am I saying that these are the only suggestions or these are absolute truths. This is just my opinion, my feeling. So no one should take it in any other way. But I think it's a great question in terms of the effort. We have the Chafetz teaches us when we make a siyum. When we make a siyum, we say, Anu amelim v'hem amim. We work hard and they work hard, referring to the Jewish people and the non-Jewish people, that we put in toil and they put in toil. Anu amelim u'mekablim schar. We work hard and we get reward, and they work hard and they don't get reward. V'hem amelim ve'ein mekablim schar. So ask the Chafetz Chaim, I don't understand. We work hard and we get reward. Okay, I can understand, but they work hard and they don't get reward. Jeff Bezos doesn't have reward. Elon Musk doesn't. What does that mean? These guys don't have. They're doing all right for themselves. What does it mean? There's no reward. Says the Chafetz Chaim, without the specific people examples that I gave. Says the Chafetz Chaim, no, just the effort itself we are rewarded for. When it comes to you spend 5 hours on one page of Gemara. I only accomplished one page. No, absolutely not. You did 5 hours. That amal, that effort, that makes a huge impact on a person. That's what God's looking for. Someone can learn that same page in 5 seconds. They're not going to get nearly the amount of reward that you got. It's all about the effort, as opposed to you have a lawyer who works hundreds and hundreds of hours on a case, but he loses the case if he's getting paid based on winning the case, whatever it is. You get nothing. And what do you have now? You have nothing left. It's all about the effort. We're so lucky that every single second of effort that we put in counts towards eternity. We have the opportunity to tap into that every single second. Rav Hutner points out that constantly throughout the Yomim Noraim on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we're going right back to the Akedah. We're always referencing the Akedah. When Avraham was going to slaughter his son Yitzchak, and then the Malach ended up saying, no, don't do it. This is when Avram proved his loyalty. And this is what we're trying to tap into as we beg Hashem for his mercy for the year ahead. Says Rav Hutner, nothing even happened. He didn't end up shechting his son. Why are we constantly referencing back to this? And the answer is it's because it's about the effort. He went through that struggle to get up to that mountain, to get up to the point where he was about to do it. You're rewarded even for that, even if he didn't go through with the actual action. We put in our effort, doesn't mean we're not going to slip, doesn't mean we're not going to fall. We do our best, but the effort matters so much. And it's a tremendous bracha that we have. It's a major blessing that we have, that even if we don't reach that goal of whatever the goal is, we're still getting reward for every single second. You think about how many seconds there are in a day. You get every single second's an opportunity. What an incredible opportunity it is that we have.
Unbelievable. We had a Torah talk with one of my Rabbi Finkelman. It was about chinuch, about parenting. He was saying how when he gets the report cards from his kids, he focuses only on one area, which is what? The effort. How do they do the effort? If they put the effort, everything else is, they tried, but as long as they put the effort. And, just recently I got my kids' report cards and I'm like, where's the effort? And I saw Baruch Hashem, they put the effort and they tried, and the rest is, what can we do?
It's interesting. There's a lot of studies about that as well in terms of the effort thing, because if you just tell your kid, let's just say, and again, I'm no way an expert at this at all, but if there's studies say that if you just tell your kid that you're so smart, they're not going to want to try new things, because there's a risk that if they're not great at it, then they're not going to be that smart thing anymore. If they're defined by smart, then they're never going to want to try anything new, because I don't want to lose my title as being smart. But if you just reward the effort and say, oh, I love how much effort you put in, how hard you tried, then they're going to say, oh, we'll try new things. Very interesting idea.
Very interesting idea. Wow, never thought about it that way. Very nice, Rabbi Schreier. I like it. So Rabbi Schreier, let me ask you, in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest struggle that people fall into?
It's a good question. There's a lot. I think practically just with our access, and again, I can talk for myself, just with the access to what we have. When someone walks into, I think they say that when we go into the city or look on our phones and ads and this stuff, we see more things than people in the 40s used to see in like a month. There's a lot of access to a lot of things, which is very difficult. And obviously, Shmir Seinayim and all these things is very, very challenging things. But I think going with our theme, I guess, I think one of the main challenges is not defining ourselves by sin. That oftentimes if we're struggling with certain things, then we feel like we said it initially, like what we started with, that, I'm too far gone. I've messed up too far. God can't possibly forgive me or like me after I've done what I've done. Why bother trying? Why bother continuing to push? And I think it's the biggest trap that people fall into, because it's so easy to say, you know what, it's too late. We're in these parshios of Moshe Rabbeinu and Yetzias Mitzrayim and whatever it is, and we just read all of these things. One thing which comes out from Moshe Rabbeinu, you look at Moshe Rabbeinu, the essence of Moshe Rabbeinu is it's never too late. Moshe Rabbeinu, from 0 to 80, I guess let's talk in sports for a second. If he was getting submitted for the Hall of Fame, I know in sports there's a Hall of Fame discussion right now. So if he was being submitted for the Hall of Fame from ages 0 to 80, he's a pretty good guy. He saved those women who were being bullied by the well. He killed the mitzvah. He cared about others. He was fine. Maybe he would have gotten in. But from 80 to 120, he became the greatest of all time. He went from being average, good, to being the greatest. There's at age 80. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu himself writes, that the average lifespan was 70. The imbig vuros, if you're really strong, shmonim shana, then you would live till 80. Moshe was at this 80-year-old stage. He could have looked up to God, said, God, golf time. I got big tea time. I'm good. But no, Moshe turned it all around at age 80. Rabbi Akiva turned it around at age 40. We think that because someone's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, it's too late. Thank God people are living long now. And we have a tremendous opportunity every single second. We shouldn't think, the last 10, 15, 20 years have been not what I would have expected. So let's start right now. It's a tremendous fall that we fall, a tremendous trap we fall into.
It's amazing, Rabbi Schreier. Just the other day, I got a call from one of our mispalin, someone I know very well, and he was saying, "Oh, it's over." I'm like, what do you mean it's over? Oh, I did this and this. And I'm like, listen, Habibi, my friend, I told him, if it's over, God would have, you're still alive, right? Exactly. As long as you're still alive, that means you could still fix yourself up, I told him. And he told me that was such a big Chazaq, such a big inspiration. He thought it was over. I'm like, if it's over, why are you still alive?
Amazing. No, seriously, what you say, we say every single morning, Moda'ani lefanecha. We say, Rabba emunasecha, that the fact that Hashem gave us another day of life means that he has emunah, that we still have what to do.
That's right.
Exactly right. Shkoyach. Way to save it.
Rabbi Schreier, always a pleasure to hear you. Whenever I'm in the neighborhood once in a while, I always
I didn't got to come more.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could. Baruch Hashem, but enjoyed every minute, every gem of those amazing, inspiring words. But before we let you go, Rabbi Schreier, if you could leave us with one final inspiring message for our broad audience, whether it's related to the topic that we spoke about tonight, whether it's not, a good takeaway for our crowd.
I'll give you a good takeaway. I think there's a great takeaway. One of the more fascinating characters in our entire history is a man known by the name of Elisha ben Avuya. He's also known as Acher. Why? Because this was a great time. He was a great teacher of Torah who saw some unfortunate things, was facing certain difficult questions in life, and he decided to drop it all and become Acher and become other, he was known as, because he just strayed so far from the path of Judaism. And one time his Talmud, Rabbi Meir, his student Rabbi Meir, who was still learning with him, even after all of this occurred, he was still learning from him, and he was traveling with him one day on a Shabbos, and his Rebbe was going on a horse. How he was able to learn from him, okay, different topic for a different time, but he's learning from him, and he says, okay, his Rebbe, Elisha ben Avuya, says to Rabbi Meir, you have to turn around now. You've reached how far you're allowed to walk on Shabbos. You need to turn yourself around. So Rabbi Meir says back, you could also turn yourself around. And he wasn't talking just physically, he meant spiritually. You can turn yourself around as well. So Elisha ben Avuya says back, says the Gemara in Chagiga, Elisha ben Avuya says back, look, stop it already. I wish I could come back, but I can't, because I overheard a baskol. I heard a heavenly voice which said, Shuvu vanim shovvim chutz me Elisha ben Avuya. I heard that everyone can do tshuva. Tshuva is always on the table, except for me, except for Elisha ben Avuya. Comes the Yerushalmi and quotes the story. The Jerusalem Talmud quotes the story a little bit differently. Says the Yerushalmi, this same story, turn around. No, you turn around. Elisha ben Avuya says back, I overheard a heavenly voice which said that everyone can do tshuva except for Acher. There's a difference. In the Bavli, it says everyone can do tshuva except for Elisha ben Avuya. In Yerushalmi, it says that everyone can do tshuva except for Acher. What's the difference? So Rav Soloveitchik explained beautifully, and Rav Soloveitchik explained there's no stira, there's no contradiction. One is what was said, and the other is what was heard. What was said, what the Baskol really said was that everyone can do tshuva except for Acher. Get rid of this Acher part of you. Get rid of this rebellious part of you. Stop that. And you can, of course, come back. Elisha, we'd love to have Elisha back. But what he heard in his mind was everyone can do tshuva except for Elisha ben Avuya, because he defined himself. Acher, Elisha were the same thing to him. He defined himself by the sin. And that held him back from being the great teacher of Torah that he could have been. We can't let the sin define us. We have to be able to move forward. Doesn't mean to justify what we've done or to say that we can continue. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying that things happen, people slip, people fall. We are not malachim. We're specifically not malachim because we're able to continue growing. But we can't let our past failures stop us. We have to be able to move forward. We have to be able to accomplish. Mirta Shem, on to bigger and better things.
Rabbi Ashie Schreier, what a powerful final message. What a powerful Torah talk. Amazing chizuk, amazing inspiration. Always a pleasure to see you and hear from you. We want to thank our dear sponsors for this amazing program, dailygiving.org, an amazing, unbelievable organization started by our dear friend, Dr. Jonathan Donath. Basically, $1 a day goes a very far way, about 40 or 50 different organizations.
Unbelievable.
Check it out. It's unbelievable. And they're just amazing and constantly growing. And we encourage everyone to check them out and to be part of it. We want to dedicate also tonight's event, loving memory of Aharon ben Esther. Anyone interested in dedicating future programs, please reach out to Chazaq. Reach out to our dear friend Rabbi at Chazaq, Rabbi at chazaq.org. Reach out to us about future guests. If you have a rabbi from your community, a guest speaker, lecturer that you would love to see interviewed on Chazaq's Torah Talks, Tuesday's Torah Talks, please reach out to us and let us know. And we want to thank Rabbi Schreier once again. Rabbi Schreier, thank you very, very much. God bless you, Rabbi. And we will see you all. We shall all be zocheh. We shall all merit to see the Geulah Shema, the complete redemption, which comes speedily in our days. Amen. Amen.